You ever watch two actors with so much on-screen chemistry suddenly feel super weird around each other? That's exactly what happened when Sophie Turner and Kit Harington reunited. Not in Westeros this time, but on the set of their new gothic horror film, The Dreadful. And here's the twist. They had to shoot intimate scenes together, and it was so awkward that both actors admitted they were retching. Literally, Sophie described it as vile and one of the worst moments of her career. But let's rewind for a second. How did these two beloved Game of Thrones stars end up in this strange and squirm-worthy situation? We're breaking down the full story, straight from Turner's own words and everything we know about The Dreadful, the horror flick that's got people talking for all the weirdest reasons. Sophie Turner and Kit Harington are no strangers to intense storylines. On Game of Thrones, they played Sansa Stark and Jon Snow, characters who were raised as half-siblings but later revealed to be cousins. Though their bond was never romantic, fans got used to seeing them as family, and so did they. That's why, when Turner read the script for The Dreadful, a gothic horror movie she's also producing, she didn't immediately realize the implications of casting Harington opposite her. She thought of him first for the male lead, sent him the script, and was surprised when he texted her back saying, "This is going to be really fucking weird, Soph." Then she read the scenes again. Kiss, kiss, sex, kiss, sex scene. And it hit her. This was going to be really uncomfortable. Sophie told the full story during a recent appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers. She shared how enthusiastic she was about the project. As both the lead actress and producer, she had a hand in choosing the cast, and Kit Harington was her top choice. Their chemistry and working history made him an obvious fit, until the reality of the romantic scenes sank in. Despite the awkwardness, both actors agreed the script was too good to pass up. Turner said Harington was like, "We kind of have to do it," and they decided to push through. But no matter how professional you are, kissing your former on-screen sibling is not easy. By the time they got on set and had to film the first kiss, Turner said, "We were both retching. It was gross, it was weird, and it was very real." Let's take a closer look at The Dreadful. Written and directed by Natasha Kermani, the film is set against the haunting backdrop of the War of the Roses, a series of English civil wars that took place in the 15th century. Sophie Turner plays Anne, a woman living in isolation with her mother-in-law, Morwen, played by Oscar winner Marcia Gay Harden. Their quiet, harsh existence is disrupted when a mysterious man from their past, played by Kit Harington, returns and sets off a series of chilling, life-changing events. The film is described as a gothic horror story, filled with suspense, tension, and emotional depth. With period costumes, eerie landscapes, and dark family secrets, it's the kind of project that challenges actors and definitely doesn't shy away from complicated relationships. This isn't Sophie Turner's first experience with unsettling storylines. On Game of Thrones, she was at the center of some of the show's most difficult scenes, from political manipulation to physical violence. But The Dreadful brought a different kind of discomfort, this time behind the scenes. Imagine working with someone you've known for over a decade as a sort of sibling, only to now share romantic scenes. That psychological switch isn't easy to make, even for seasoned actors. Turner said she and Harington had to put the awkwardness out of their minds, but their reactions during filming prove it wasn't so simple. Their experience adds an unusual layer to what's already a dark and moody film. Interestingly, this new collaboration marks the first time Turner and Harington have worked together since Game of Thrones ended in 2019. During those 8 seasons, their characters developed a strong familial bond, and they remained close friends in real life. Fans loved their dynamic, protective, loyal, and deeply respectful. That's probably why hearing Turner describe their intimate scenes as vile is so jarring. But it also makes sense. Their real-life friendship and shared history made it nearly impossible to separate fiction from reality, at least during those particular scenes. And in a way, that honesty makes them even more relatable as actors, because awkward is awkward, no matter how. Let's talk a bit about Natasha Kermani, the filmmaker behind The Dreadful. Known for her indie horror hits like Lucky 2020, Kermani has a reputation for creating slow-burn thrillers with strong female leads and layered storytelling. In The Dreadful, she explores grief, isolation, and repressed desire, classic gothic horror themes, through a female-driven lens. With Turner producing and starring, the project already stood out. Add Kit Harington into the mix, and the stakes get even higher. Kermani's decision to cast the pair in romantic roles was bold, and it clearly sparked emotional reactions, not just from audiences, but from the actors themselves. Whether the discomfort translates into compelling performances remains to be seen, but the behind-the-scenes tension certainly adds to the intrigue. If you're wondering how this kind of scene gets filmed under such awkward circumstances, let's break it down. On most modern film sets, especially when intimacy is involved, productions now use intimacy coordinators, professionals who help choreograph and supervise romantic or physical scenes to ensure comfort and consent for all parties. It's likely The Dreadful had one on set, especially given Turner's public advocacy for mental health and safe working environments. Still, no amount of prep can fully erase the weirdness when your scene partner is someone you've thought of as a brother for most of your career. Even with careful planning, the emotional barrier was hard to break, and both Turner and Harington knew it. This situation also opens up a bigger conversation about actor dynamics and long-term collaborations. We love seeing co-stars reunite, especially ones with proven chemistry. But what happens when familiarity becomes a roadblock? Turner and Harington clearly respect each other, and that mutual trust probably made the experience bearable. But it also reminds us that the job of an actor isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it's straight up uncomfortable. Still, both stars stuck with it because they believed in the story. And that's part of what makes this film so compelling. It's not just about what's on the screen, but what happened behind it. So, will The Dreadful live up to the buzz? The film doesn't have a release date yet, but it's already making waves online due to Turner's candid interview and the unique pairing of two Game of Thrones icons. Gothic horror fans are especially excited, since the genre has seen a resurgence in recent years with films like Crimson Peak and the others. With a strong female-led cast, period drama elements, and psychological tension, The Dreadful could easily become a sleeper hit. And if nothing else, the buzz around Turner and Harington's awkward scenes is practically guaranteed to pull in curious viewers. For Sophie Turner, The Dreadful also marks a new phase in her career. She's stepping more into producing, taking creative control over the stories she tells. Since her breakout as Sansa Stark, Turner has navigated both blockbuster hits and indie roles. She's also been open about her mental health journey and her desire to work on projects that challenge her. Collaborating again with a trusted friend like Harington may have been a strange emotional hurdle, but it's also a sign of her confidence as both an actress and producer. She chose a script that spoke to her, even if it came with some personal discomfort. Kit Harington, meanwhile, has taken on a variety of roles post-Thrones, including Marvel's Eternals and stage performances in London. He's focused on stretching his range and moving past the shadow of Jon Snow. The Dreadful could offer him a chance to play a more complex, morally ambiguous character in a genre he hasn't explored much. And working with Turner again shows his willingness to revisit past connections while taking creative risks. In Hollywood, casting is everything, but so is chemistry. Sometimes it works beautifully, sometimes it's retching. But either way, it makes for unforgettable filmmaking. In the end, Sophie Turner and Kit Harington's reunion in The Dreadful is a fascinating case of art pushing personal boundaries. Their experience filming intimate scenes, described as vile and the worst, might sound like a nightmare, but it's also a testament to their professionalism. They did what the story demanded, even when it made them uncomfortable. That kind of honesty, both on and off screen, is rare in Hollywood. So, while the headlines might focus on the awkwardness, the real story here is about creative trust, commitment, and two actors taking bold steps outside their comfort zones.